So the meeting was called to order at 5:02 p.m. We're doing roll call. Let's just start over for the good of the recording. Gail?
Here.
Barb?
Here.
Camille?
Here.
Tony?
Here.
Alderman Wolf?
Here.
Nancy?
Here.
Michelle?
Here.
And Tracy and Aaron are excused.
All right, great. So we
have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Thank you. You'd be so kind to talk about the statement of public notice, please.
This meeting was noticed in accordance with the open meeting law.
Thank you. Anybody in anybody's house or anybody here for public comment? Hearing none, we can move on to the next item of the agenda. I'm looking for a motion to approve the library board minutes of February 15th, 2022, as well as place on file the library financial reports for February 2022. Looking for a motion to approve.
I'll motion.
Thank you, Michelle. Second?
I'll second.
Nancy
I
will
was just
second.
checking what I thought might be a question, but it's not.
Now we can, are there any questions? Let's see here. I'll ask a couple just for grins here. On page 7, actually I have DJ Gene. I'm assuming that's a disc jockey. I wasn't sure exactly because it's a J-O-J, so we can skip that one.
Yeah, he's jamming on Janesville. He's the kids performer that does the bubbles and the hula hoops.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
There you go. Reference desk redesign, that number, is there anything, we should know about that? Came in budget?
Oh, let's see here. Where was
36,810.
Yep, we were just under budget.
Just under budget. Okay. All right. And then down second to the bottom is Spectrum. I just was curious about business internet, why we wouldn't get potentially some kind of special rate being a library or something like that, or is this just something totally different?
Perhaps that is.
Yeah, we don't get any special rate, and that's coordinated through the city, so we get whatever the city would get.
I thought it was kind of interesting to be business internet.
Yeah,
but,
that just means we have a dedicated line as opposed to sharing with the subdivision.
But they are a business. Technically, I suppose they are, but
we're not a nonprofit.
A public building, I guess. That's why I was thinking maybe there might be something. But anyway, just ask.
We do get a special rate for the public line. The public internet goes through the Teach network, so that's where the discount is. Mm-hmm. But we have to pay for staff internet as well.
Okay. And perhaps by definition it is a business. I guess I don't look at the library as a business per se. But anyway, on the page 8, under Waukesha County Treasurer, just the cafe annual support, is that again the number we were expecting? So
yep, it's the number we were expecting. It goes slightly up every now and then just to handle inflation, and that of course is our huge system, right? It's Polaris, it's the catalog, it's what we use to catalog books and keep all of our items, and that's our portion. The entire library system pays into it. So you can imagine what the total cost of that software system is, and that's our
And is it
portion.
prorated based on what? Is it based on how much we use it, our population?
It's based on population. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I have a question on
Sure.
the RFID tags.
Mhm.
21,000 tags at $2,700.
Mhm.
That's certainly not a one-time thing.
No. So, as you remember, we received a grant from Bridges that covered about $9,000 of tags to cover our books, basically. But it's not quite enough because they were only covering books. So we had to buy the remainder to tag all of our media, so DVDs, CDs, audiobooks, things like that. And so that is a bulk purchase to tag all of our media. So now between the tags that we already have from Bridges plus the other ones that came in to do the media, we now have all the tags to tag all thousands upon thousands of items in our collection.
So it is a one-time.
I mean, it will be a one-time purchase, but then of course, as we purchase new items every, day, week, month, year, we'll have smaller purchases to do like that. So, and it's similar to in the past, what we had to do was purchase those tattle tape strips, those magnetic strips that go in books. while they don't do quite the same thing, the RFID tags are part of the security component. And just a reminder, each tattletale strip was 25 cents. Each tag is like 14 cents. So while that number does look big, and while we will have to continue to buy RFID tags, we will no longer, eventually, once we convert over to RFID, be buying those tattletale strips. So we're actually saving money in that processing.
Thank you.
And then my final question is the item 2 above, the 22 Advantage program. What might that be?
Yeah, the Advantage program is what allows. So we pay into the state's electronic books system, that Overdrive and or
right,
Libby.
yes,
So
yes.
we pay into that, but that's not quite what Advantage is. So we pay into it, and the whole state is competing to check out those items, which is why sometimes if you see, I've been on hold for 6 months for that item, why is this taking so long? It's because, there are purchasers that purchase maybe 10, 50 copies of the most, popular book, but the entire state's competing against those 50, 100 copies of those books. What we do at the system level, and most systems do, is we pay extra money into an Advantage account. And what that does is it allows us to buy extra copies just for our patrons in our system to give them the advantage. Huh. So obviously our system targets more popular items and items to get our patrons their items faster. So that's what that is.
Interesting.
And is that mostly used by high school kids, or is it the general public?
A general public, yeah. I mean, certainly high school kids can use it. There's children's books, there's teen books, there's adult books, and it has seen an increase. That is, if you look at the director report, I'll point it out when we get there, but one of the statistics is listed there, and that's what basically that E account is.
I have a question too.
Yes.
On all the print, is that you buying books in print or having printing done? Page 5, and then they're sort of sparsed out around.
Like Baker and Taylor?
Yeah. So Baker and Taylor is our primary company that we use for purchasing of library materials, specifically print and video. Okay. And yeah, if it says print, that was a print order. And if it says AV, it was a media order, and that could be.
Yeah. I thought that would be a lot of printing.
A lot of copies. Lots of copies. One quick question that I have for the people who are at home, if you will. Are you able to hear all of the questions? Because, Nancy speaks, I'm just loud. But Nancy and Barb speak a little bit more quietly than I do. Are you able to hear all the questions, or will you want them repeated?
Nope, I heard the questions just fine.
Okay, excellent.
This is Tony, and I hear it just fine also.
Okay.
I heard fine also.
Okay,
wonderful.
Good. Okay, just wanted to make sure. All right, so then I'm looking for a vote to approve the minutes of the February meeting as well as the financials for February. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now, in Erin's honor, should I ask for abstentions? I don't know. Should I do that? Any abstentions? All right, hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. Okay, next item on the agenda is the President's Report. And in what could be my one and only President's Report as interim president, I do have a couple of quick things. I do get a subscription to the Wisconsin Lawyer magazine, and I'm going to give this to Brittany, and I know you folks at home can't see this, but there is a pretty good article in here called Library Law, Intellectual Freedom, Privacy, and Governance. And it talks about the history of libraries and things from a legal perspective.
Nice.
So I'm going to give this to Brittany, and if you choose that you think the board should get a copy, great. If not, if it's for your own entertainment and amusement, we're good.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right.
Happy birthday.
Okay, and then on the second item, I do have a statement from Erin for the library board, dated today. And this is what he writes to us. Due to additional work commitments, I must resign from the library board. I have come to realize that I can no longer do the role justice and therefore must move on. It's been a sincere honor and pleasure to serve on the board with each and every one of you over the years, and to serve alongside our incredible staff as well. I leave with many happy memories and highlights. I hope to see you all around the library and out and about in the community from time to time. And who knows, perhaps one of these days I'll be that visitor during public comment that we've all been longing for. Thank you for all you're doing for our library and community. Wishing you all the best, Erin.
Nice.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, that was lovely. And we were saying, in fact, Brittany and I talked about this, that hopefully someday we will see him in the public comment chair, which would be really terrific. So on that note, we've got an election coming up tonight for president. It's been my honor and pleasure to serve you for a few hours as interim president, but I also want to be clear that I really have done nothing during this time frame. This job is not like where you're working it constantly. Brittany, as we all know, is very able and takes care of everything. So I would encourage tonight that we have more than, it would appear that I would take it because of being vice president. But as I've told you before, I don't own any office on this board. So I would encourage anyone to run and hopefully win.
I was just going to nominate you.
Well, we haven't gotten there yet. So I'm just saying, I just, want to make sure that everybody knows how I feel about this, that, it's typically people ascend to that office, but I'm okay with not. I would be thrilled to have new blood in this office. So,
Gail, if it ain't broke, don't fix
well, I leave that up to everybody else, but you will not hurt my feelings, I guess, is what I'm trying to make clear here. And business goes on. So whatever happens, okay? So I think we can move on to the director's report.
All right. Let's see some highlights. The February fundraiser was just very successful. We ended up raising. The staff worked very well with the Friends to help set up this fundraiser, to help market it, to help sell hearts at the desk. And so we ended up selling $377 worth of hearts. And then the Friends raised $800 on one day alone for their baked goods, the art, the DVDs, and books that accompanied the library's train program that we had.
And may I make just a quick comment about that? It's not like they had, give us money here either. It was somewhat of a passive type of donation process for this particular event. It wasn't like you had donate here boxes, so I just think that was really terrific.
Yeah, it was very effective, and frankly, for a February, even more so.
Yeah.
The Friends were very happy with the results, and they do plan on doing it again next year. So we're looking forward to that.
Do you know, in comparison, what they would bring in, on the wine tasting and that kind of thing, to give us kind of and if you don't know, I don't want to put you on the spot, but
I'm trying to think of the last wine tasting. This event was not meant to replace the wine tasting. The garden walk is sort of meant as that larger event. So this event is more what we're trying to do with the Friends. We're trying to right size the fundraising opportunities to fit the volunteer options that we have now. And the beer and wine tasting was very difficult because it required a coordination of food and access to the alcohol. And it was just getting harder to get a provider to do that and things like that. So, I think in the past they were making around maybe $7,000 that night, roughly. And so the garden walk last year made about $3,000 or so.
That's pretty amazing.
And so, and that's in its
so
first year.
So this puts this event in perspective, but if you do multiple ones like this, it could add up.
Right. So in the past, the beer and wine tasting was the main fundraiser, and then they also did the book sale. Now we have the February, Library Lovers Month fundraiser. We have the garden walk in June. We're doing the gently used art sale a couple times. We're doing some more bake sales. These are events scaled to our abilities. We're going to be doing a mini golf event in the library in October, and we're coordinating with the schools to hopefully get different high school students to decorate different holes around the library. So lots of unique opportunities, and what's really nice is that it creates different engagement groups. Like for the beer and wine tasting, you had to be a certain age to get in, and if it was your thing, you liked it, and if it was not your thing, then you probably didn't show up. But these events sort of are more a good cross section of community interest, I think. So
I'm wondering if we could push, you buy a hole, somebody sponsor one hole.
oh, I think they're thinking about doing that, but I'm going to make a note of that and just double check and make sure. I know that for those of you who don't know Maria Tess, she is just such a champion of the library.
Yeah, she is.
And frankly, any cause that she takes on, she's so great. And she has been working with another Friends member, and they are getting sponsorships for the garden walk this year. And I think it's going to be about double the sponsorships of last year. So, yeah, it's fantastic. But I'll make a note of that.
Why don't you go get her?
Yes, she is.
I think I told you this, but I was surprised to see her at my alumni breakfast as alumni of the year.
Yeah,
last
yeah.
month.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well deserved.
Yep.
Well deserved. All right. And Saturday, May 21st, the free shredding event. But don't worry, I will never let that happen to me or this library again. It was too popular. And so we are now going to be doing it by registration. And we have mathematically measured out how many cars can fit in the lot without blocking the lot, without it spilling onto Janesville Road, things like that. And it will be a much more calm, organized experience.
Do you do it in the back or the front?
So we're going to do it same path as before. The truck's going to be along the side of the building. Cars come in, they line up along the side, and we're only going to be doing a certain amount of cars per hour so it doesn't spill all the way into sort of the main area.
I just wonder if you did it in the back, you'd have a longer people, more people.
Oh, where they'd go by the apartments, you mean, and be able to sit
Yeah,
up
but they
there?
actually pull out through the back.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you could still do it though if the truck was in the way in the back. I'm just saying for clogging up the parking lot at the.
Yeah, I think because we're only doing 50 cars an hour and it moves pretty quickly.
That's fast.
I don't think
It's one a minute.
I might have to adjust it one more time in terms of amounts. We're going to be watching it very carefully this year, but it will not be last year. So.
And do you anticipate then as a result of that you're actually going to do more vehicles than less because of the way you have it organized, or will it be the same? Will it be less?
It'll be less cars than last year, just to make sure that we can.
Are they limited to 2 boxes?
Yep,
or whatever?
two boxes or 2 paper bags. We're not going to do plastic bags anymore, even though the company technically said it was okay. That was also part of what held things up, is that they had to empty the bag out as opposed to just dropping the whole thing in. So,
and registration will be through the front desk.
it will be It'll be through the library. It'll begin May 2nd, and every year we're getting a little smarter on it. So that's exciting. But it'll be great to bring that back. Let's see, we're getting ready for summer reading. So the staff are busy with that.
I had one question. We just got a new mailbox for our Safe for Hugs Muskego Seniors ongoing passive program, which is terrific. But is Abby doing senior work too then?
This is a program run by Courtney, our children's assistant.
Okay.
And basically, the children fill out cards or coloring pages or notes, and then she delivers them to the.
Okay, never mind. Then I take my question back.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was either.
And keep going.
Yeah.
Where are we getting the list of the names of seniors for those cards?
I think what ends up happening is she coordinates with staff at the individual sites, and they work to make sure that it's distributed.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if it necessarily goes to the same person each time. It's just a way to deliver some thinking of you type pieces. And I know how cute those can be. My daughter just drew a picture of me, and it was complimentary in some areas and not complimentary in others. But she also told me I'm the best library director mommy that there is. So
savor that.
I know. That's adorable. I love this. I love the sweetness that's there. Let's see here. We are visiting Oconomowoc on Friday, so we can observe their tagging process. They're closing their library for a day to do a big staff tagging initiative, and so we're going to be observing and taking notes so we can make our process as efficient as possible. Next board meeting is April 19th. The Friends, as I mentioned, are working on their next garden walk, and that is set for June 25th, 2022 from 9 to 5, so they've expanded the time a bit. There's lots of new components and sponsors, so we're really excited. There's lots of exciting things in the air, like a garden tea, a high garden tea at one of the gardens, so
that's neat.
that's going to be really
that'll
cool.
be fun.
Is that what you mean by lead-in program?
No, so the lead-in programming is just before the day of. There's lots of, like we did the Melinda Myers event as sort of like an exciting, like this is also garden themed.
Oh, okay.
That was cool.
Okay.
That
So-
was really good.
Staff are gonna do that again.
So
Not
that's all.
Melinda Myers,
That's all
but-
pre-walk. stuff.
Correct, yeah. Just as a positive impact story, the Muskego Women's Club made a very generous donation of $250 to our library this year. So that was very kind. I know you're part of the Women's Club.
Okay.
Barb, you are as well. So thank you. I'll be writing a letter to your president to express our thanks. And yeah, it's amazing.
Any specific use for it?
Actually, I'm going to talk with you guys about that at a later meeting. I have some proposals in mind for, we've been getting some donations that have been accruing, and I have a couple of recommendations to share with you all as we talk about strategically the best use for it. So stay tuned. That's coming up next.
All right.
I applied for a grant, so we'll see if I get it. And that's going to be starting to chip away at some of those communication goals that we have, specifically the planned giving and membership drive, support for the Friends, as well as updating our brochure that is dated. I have also, just as a side note, been talking with Wills, which is a library consultant organization from the state. They did the library's strategic planning process 2 years ago. I asked them how much it would cost to review our mission statement and work with us on that. And that was over $2,000. And so I think something I want to talk about at the next meeting is how deep, what type of investment we
really
want to
wanna
make
do.
into this
Yeah.
process, if we want to try to do that process internally or work with them. So I'll give you some more details at the next meeting.
Just a little background. Will's is also one of our Women's Club donates to Will's as well.
Really? That's amazing.
We have for years.
Ah,
It's the leadership, right? Yeah.
It's the Wisconsin, no, it's a library organization.
Well, we give to Will's, WILS, and it's a leadership program.
Oh.
Okay,
Same
not the same thing.
initials,
Okay.
So I came from the Greendale Library. They had we developed a foundation for donations.
Yep.
Are you thinking of anything along those lines?
Right now, the plan is to operate a planned giving, not a foundation, because we have a friends group, and some libraries do have
you
a
gotta be
friends
a little
group
careful
and a
with that.
foundation,
Yeah, we had both.
but that's a
My
level of
friends
complexity
Yeah.
that I'm not
Yeah.
Little.
suggesting we enter into. But we are wanting to run a planned giving program through the Friends, and right now it's more passive. Like, if people think of us, we're lucky, but I have plans to develop this like really cardstock based booklet that sort of is an advocacy tool that talks about the planned giving program, that talks about volunteerism at the library, that talks about sponsorship at the library, so that if I were to approach, let's say InPro, and say like we would like a sponsorship for renovating the library's bathrooms, let's say, or I want to talk to someone about estate planning. Would you consider the library in the state? This is an advocacy piece, a marketing piece that's really going to articulate those programs and communicate those more
And that's
effectively
what the
than we
grant
have.
is potentially for.
So
too,
the
correct?
grant that I recently
Yes.
applied for would cover the design, the professional photography. We've been taking photos on our iPhones for years. It's time to get some really good photos of this building to put on our website, to put in this document, to put on our brochure. So these are all in our action plan under the communication strategy. So I'm starting to knock some of those out.
When you say that, last night I ushered in 2 gentlemen from the school district, the high school principal and the activities director, correct? And they both said, "Wow, we've never been in You haven't been in our library? You're part of our education system and you haven't been in our library. So,
I'll add them to my list.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Get more invitations out there, and this is sort of a step into start doing more community outreach and sort of evaluating these stakeholders. That's part of the communication plan evaluation. So I just started doing a bunch of this stuff in the last couple of weeks. The usability study would cost about $990 if we went through Wills and had them sort of help frame it. But again, I can also do it myself. So it's just weighing, do I spend my time on it?
Right.
Or
Exactly.
do I spend their
That's
time?
what the
And we can talk more about whether we want to enter into those agreements at the next meeting. I'll have sort of some proposals there, and we can decide what we think is the best way to spend our money and where we want me to sort of dig in and develop it myself.
So too, when you work on these programs, do you have like a wish list? You know, it's sort of fun. People like buying something. You know what I mean? The library wish list, and I'll buy that part.
Yeah.
Or
her
I'll
name
buy
is
that
Brittany.
thing.
She always has a wish.
I always have a wish
but
list.
we don't know about it though,
Yeah, so the
or the community, I should say.
yeah, some libraries do have like Amazon lists that they make public so that if people want to do some targeted
Yeah.
buying. We have not done that yet. You know, and this is why I do want to talk about this, because we've been getting some donations, and there are some bigger projects that I think might be really effective to do now that we have been saving it up a bit. So
I don't know, as a giver, it's sort of fun to pick out what you're giving more than just throwing some money at someone.
Yep, that is the truth. Yeah.
And on that note, would you then call it the Barb Schrader Memorial Coffee Pot? You know, I mean,
And do anything.
I say as a joke, but
Yeah.
would you do like a naming rights type thing with that, or do you prefer not to do that, or
To
what?
me, naming rights depends on the size.
Exactly,
of
but
the
you're not
donation.
against it, I guess.
No,
would be
not against it.
depending on-
No, in fact, the women's club, we put a plaque on there next to the smart board because they sponsored the technology in the storytime room. The Friends, you know, they gave $100,000 for the children's renovation, so they have a plaque right at the entrance.
Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely.
It's not
do
an
that.
unusual thing to do, I
No.
guess. So
Nope.
you know, it's and you want to thank people who do that as
Absolutely.
well. So,
And
okay,
you want people in the community to see
to see it,
who's participating.
but we got to get them to come into the library.
Yes, many things to
Many
do.
things.
And then I just wanted to call out the employee anniversaries. Jalene's been here 14 years, Michelle 4 years, and Emily celebrated her 1 year with us.
Way to go, ladies. Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments for Brittany on her report or the contents? Okay, hearing none. Looks like we can move on to unfinished business. And the first item, is there any more than that? Nope. The first item is a discussion/action on the Code of Conduct policy. It's our review and a second read. And technically it's the patron Code of Conduct policy when we get there. Correct? Okay. Brittany, anything you would like to add to what we talked about last time?
I just made some minor adjustments since you last saw it. Nothing related to content, really. It was just sort of cleaning up some language. So it stands before you much as it was at the first read, and I will entertain any questions.
All right, before we do that, you would like us to take a vote on this tonight.
Yep.
So what I would be looking for is a motion to approve, I say it correctly, the Code of Conduct policy for 2022 draft 2. Looking for a motion to approve.
I will make a motion to approve the code of conduct policy.
Thank you, Camille. Looking for a second.
I'll second.
Thank you,
Is that
Tony.
Tony?
Yep.
Okay, all right. So now the floor is open for discussion. So any questions, anyone? Hearing none. Let's see here.
Do you mind if I ask a question, actually?
Go ahead.
One of
Absolutely.
the statements here says, where are you? No use of alcohol in the library. How do you all feel about that?
And
Where are
where,
That would be,
or so we're,
it's under failure to properly dispose, smoking, tobacco, and electronic cigarette use and possession or use of alcoholic beverages.
You know, what if we wanted to go back to having a wine tasting?
that's.
Well, so
thing.
it's always been forbidden in our policy. Now, of
Okay.
course, we would have the beer and wine tasting, and that was considered the library's running a special event, and so that we're allowed to do that. I'm just curious if you guys have any thoughts about it. Now,
What is your concern? If I may, I'm looking for a hint. Is there a particular reason why you're raising the question?
We have, people can rent out the rooms for like private events.
In room rental.
And someone had asked me in the past whether or not they could bring, beer or wine or whatnot.
Like Women's Club, we have get-togethers where we've had wine at other places, haven't we?
Not here.
No, I know not here, but
So anyway, and don't get me wrong, I haven't given this a ton of thought. It was just the other day that someone reminded me of. It doesn't happen frequently at all. I mean, I think of one, maybe two instances in the 4 years that I've been here that it's come up directly to me, and it's never been like a major issue.
Like you're
it's
not losing room rentals because of it type thing.
Right.
It's
People
nothing
haven't
like
been
that.
furious. I mean, I'm sure we have lost some, maybe. Like some
Maybe,
people have
but-
decided to go elsewhere because of it. And don't get me wrong, I have not investigated this at all. So, onto whether or not it's common. And of course, if you allow it, then you allow it everywhere. So, I don't have a strong feeling about it. Like,
I do.
okay, perfect.
I don't think alcohol should be in the library.
Because the only way I could think of doing it, depending on what the majority of the board feels, is that or use of alcoholic beverages, and here, how do you draft it? By individual patrons, by, with the exception of meeting room events. I mean, like you qualify it some way, and I'm not suggesting that we do that. But that would be the only other way to me that you would be able to get it the way I think you're looking
If it
for.
hasn't been an issue, though, it's like opening up.
It doesn't sound like
Yeah.
it. So, do we take a straw poll here, perhaps within, to see what people are thinking, or because I don't
Well,
Go-
well, if I
go
could
ahead.
say
Rob?
something,
Yeah,
what the city does for public grounds, say like a park, we'll use that as an example, is you have to have a permit.
Mhm.
So I think that we should pass this as is and then bring this up and discuss it further and maybe have the library talk with the city attorney and see
Yeah.
if there's something that we really want to bring because the liabilities involved and stuff. I don't know how you would work permits. I think you would have to get a permit to do it. I'm not sure. I mean, there's always big government involved with everything when you do something like that, so.
Yeah.
I think at
I
St.
think
Al's,
we should leave it and bring it into further discussion with further investigation.
I think we had to get two permits. We had to get a permit for the event and a permit for a bartender. We had to have
Oh, yeah.
a person
Have a
who was a
license?
bartender, a
Yeah.
licensed person
License.
for St. Leonard's.
Yeah, I'm not overly thrilled with the idea, but I just wanted to bring it up.
I totally
And
understand.
what
because
events,
we got a lot of
do you
kids
think
here.
people would want to come and use the room for and drink it? I mean,
Like a baby shower or a wedding shower.
baby showers.
The
Yeah,
baby
like
and wedding
showers.
shower are the only two that I would say are probably the most consistent use of the rooms that might also want alcohol.
And how many a year do you do on both of them combined?
Oh gosh, maybe a handful,
A handful, so you
Yeah.
probably double it maybe if you had alcohol.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, maybe 3 times and that'd be a lot, right?
yeah.
Because I hate to say this, but I don't think people think of either one of those as a library place to go to have.
Correct.
Usually in someone's
that too.
house or
That
garage
too.
or at a restaurant or
Mhm.
something with a
Mhm.
room or something,
Yeah.
bar maybe. But I think the library is like a distant choice.
Yeah. Why open the door?
Yeah.
My other question would be too of the city attorney, what potential liability do we have should people be drinking alcohol on our premises and then leave and
Yeah.
sad fact, get
Well,
an
that'd be part
accident
of
or something like
That would
that?
be part of the permit process. They
Yeah.
would have to assume all liability, I would think.
Yeah.
But But you know what happens is when you're a lawyer, you find ways to go after somebody that has more money than the person throwing the party.
Yeah, absolutely. And the perception is that municipalities have deep pockets, so, that's,
Well, how about
And then
we?
it'll cost the city even to defend it. It would cost us a lot of money
Yes.
just to defend it,
Okay, I formally request that we pretend I never mentioned it.
Thank you.
well, at least we had the discussion,
Well,
so
it
we're,
might be a good idea.
we're
It's
okay.
something to bring up, I
Yep.
mean, you can
Yeah.
investigate it further, but I think, like I said, if we just
Yeah.
leave it as it is now.
Yeah.
And, you can always come and amend something
Right.
later.
Yeah.
correct.
Yep.
And, I don't see the real positives upside of doing this. I mean, if you make an extra $250 a year by renting rooms out,
Not worth it.
is it worth
No,
it?
it's not worth it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And how many liquor licenses do we already have
Mm.
in the community?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that's enough.
Well, the permit is separate from the liquor license. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Liquor license, we actually have more liquor license available than a lot of communities. We actually sold one to Hill's Corners so they can open a Mexican restaurant here not too long ago. But
Wow.
so we actually don't have as many liquor licenses as we could, but that's a whole different subject.
I have a different question.
Yes.
You have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 8th bullet point up has nothing in it, and I'm just wondering why it's even there. From the bottom.
Yep. So the in red means it's slated to be deleted,
Okay.
and that was just a formatting thing.
Oh,
so,
it was a format.
Yeah, and I wanted to
Okay.
keep.
I didn't know. If
Yeah,
there was
I wanted to
text.
keep all the tracking in so that you
Mhm.
could see what happened. But yeah, that will be gone.
Okay. All right. Okay. Anyone else have anything? So we do have a motion on the floor to approve the patron code of conduct policy. Any further comment? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. I think any opposed? Okay, hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. Okay. Let's go to the next item on the agenda. New business is a discussion and action regarding the library board presidential appointment. As I think you want to do a bit of a quick discussion on how the bylaws apply to all of this. So I think we'll have Brittany discuss and give us background on all of this, and then we'll open the floor up for nominations. Is that what you suggest we do?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds like a plan. You're on.
All right. So on packet page 19, I did include the bylaws just so that we had them before us for this appointment. And I just wanted to call out 2 areas. I also sent them via email today, but just in case you've been running around and not near your inbox, Article 3 is the section on officers. Section 5 states that the vice president, in the event of the absence or disability of the president or of a vacancy, which in this case we have, in that office shall assume and perform the duties and functions of the president. And so once Aaron gave his resignation, Gail was activated and has been acting in the role of president. And if I had needed to do anything that required me communicating with the president, I would have contacted her. That's also why she's running this meeting per these bylaws. And then the second section I just wanted to read off is that Article 3, Officers, Section 1, the last sentence of Section 1, vacancies in office shall be filled by vote at the next regular meeting of the board after the vacancy occurs. So that's why we are doing this at this meeting. And you'll note that the bylaws do not say anything about nominating committees or anything like that because this is in between those periods. So it truly is just a discussion, a call for a vote, and then a vote on the position, and then that person will be president until the annual meeting, which is when again? May, I think.
Yeah.
And then that's when the nominating committee starts in April. We have to do the formal process again.
Right.
So the president will be there, and then we do the slate in April. So
Okay.
that's all I have.
All right. So before we set up any kind of, nominating motions, anything like that, I got thinking about what happens then. Let's make an assumption for the moment that the vice presidency opens up as a vacancy. Then what do you do under that circumstance?
Well, I guess technically we would have to fill that vacancy at the next meeting.
At the
because
next meeting, then
I
we
do not
can't
have.
do it.
I don't have it listed that we're filling the vice
That's
president.
what I thought about that after the
And,
fact.
I
So,
mean,
not that I'm going to be the president, but I
Right.
just thought I better
Yeah.
ask since we're in this
So,
right now.
and
So,
frankly, at that point, the nominating committee's already doing their business. I don't know, but anyway, that's technically how
okay.
the bylaws work.
Okay. All right. So, before we get into that, can I just ask one quick question on the bylaws themselves? Or do I have to stay, when you think, should I just stay with what we're at? 'Cause
I would.
remind me, everyone, after we're done here, then I would like to ask a question on another part of the bylaws. Okay, so I think we are at the point now where we're looking for nominations from the floor to occupy the office of president until May. All right. So, any nominations? Gotta
I
have-
nominate Gail.
Beat me to it.
Do I say yes or no, or do we just put everybody on that's nominated? Is there anyone, does anyone else have another nomination? Let's do it that way.
Nope, I nominate Gail.
Well, okay. Hearing none, going once, going twice. Okay, so since we have one person, I would assume we just vote for me as a technicality or whatever.
Yeah.
So
That's the motion. Make the motion.
yes, all right. So I'm looking for a motion to appoint Gail Conkle as president of the library board until the annual meeting in May.
I'll second.
I will make a motion to approve Gail Conkle for that position.
Okay, Camille is, and then I believe
I'll
Barb
second,
Schrader's a
yeah.
second. Okay. Can I vote on that even, or do I abstain in Aaron's
Well,
honor?
typically Aaron would abstain from voting. I don't know if you
Yes.
ever caught that. He never voted. He would only enter into a vote
If
if there
it was
a
necessary
tie.
to break a
So
tie.
I think
Okay,
you can.
then
have,
that's, I guess in this case, I will not vote.
Yeah.
Okay, just to keep it safe. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
I always forget the delay here from everyone. Any opposed? And technically I abstain. So it looks like we pass unanimously. I guess I say thank you at this point.
So kind of you.
Okay. All right. Why are there bells ringing?
It's my message.
Oh, that's you. I was saying, there's bells ringing because we just had an election or what? Here is my very
We're
brief question.
celebrating.
Yeah.
Celebrating that you've been elected.
Not expecting you to necessarily
Celebrating
answer
all around.
because it's not part of the agenda. But on Article 2, Section 2, I read the appointed alderperson and school district representative shall serve a 3-year term. And I believe the alderperson serves a 1-year term. Am I correct about that?
No, that changed last year.
It did change.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
It is now in fitting with state statute. So,
Okay,
yep,
so
we
I
made that
guess
change.
We did
when-
talk
yeah.
about that now that you mention it. So that means, Rob, lucky you're stuck with us for 3 years. Is that what that means?
No, unfortunately, you're not stuck with me anymore. This is my 3rd year.
Is it already? Wow, time flies.
Well,
Okay.
you know, that pandemic sure,
Yeah, you
changed
know, that's
everybody's-
true.
you know.
You've been with us through all of that. So, wow, time flies. Except
it's
during a
crazy,
pandemic,
man.
I guess. So, okay.
But
All
you're
right.
somebody new in April.
Okay, well, and then I guess, let's see, this is March. So do you think you'll be at the April meeting, or do we do a preemptive strike here and
No.
thank you for your service now?
Yeah, I won't be in the April meeting, because I think, what is the elections, are like on the 5th or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
And your meeting's the 16th. So.
Oh, sure, it'll be
and
before
that's
you,
assuming,
yeah.
That's assuming I get reelected, so.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well,
No.
allow me to take this opportunity to thank you for your service. We really appreciate having you. And if we get you again, we'd be happy about that too.
No, I appreciate it, thanks.
All right.
I mean,
Thanks,
it's
Rob.
nice to see, things moving forward with the library. you know,
Yeah,
like,
aren't they? Yeah,
Help-
well, that's
help
a
push
thank you to
things through on the
Brittany.
Council, so that's kind of nice, so.
Yeah.
You've always been with us on things, so it's
Yeah.
really good to have you.
Thank you for your support.
Yes, thank you for your service with us.
Yes.
No, appreciate it, thanks. It's fun, it's fun being here. As fun as the library can be.
Well, yeah, plus you don't get any public comment like I bet you do in your council meetings and that type of thing too, so.
Oh, yeah, no, I can take some meetings now and then, or emails or whatever.
I
I
bet.
haven't had the opportunity to get those on the library yet.
Yeah, we're nice and peaceful in comparison. Let's keep it that way. Okay.
And no public comments.
Yeah, unless Aaron comes back. All right.
Maybe I'll come back and make some.
There we go.
Yay.
Be careful what we wish for, huh? Okay, the next
you
item.
already got that going. You're the president now.
Yeah, lucky me. Okay, thank you again, Rob. The next item on the
I appreciate
agenda
it.
is discussion and action for library closure for in-service and training.
Yeah, so I just wanted to have a brief discussion. Normally, the library does one in-service training day a year. Usually, we do it in October. I am actually hoping to do 2, possibly 3 closures this year, which I don't normally like to do, right? I want the library open as much as possible. I would like to close the library one day in late April or May in order to have an RFID training day for staff. So all the staff in one place at one time so that we can go over the software, we can go over the technology, and we can get staff started on large chunks of the book. So I think it would be a really helpful time. I've talked with other library directors like Oconomowoc and Delafield, and who else did
Would
it?
that be open to us as well?
The RFID taking, like to come in and see how it's what it looks like. Oh yeah, you could definitely come and
Or to
see
help, I suppose.
what we're doing.
Yeah.
I don't
Uh,
help.
No, you can come and observe though. So they when I've talked to other directors, they said that one day to sort of get in the groove and actually have everyone there. Otherwise, we have 3 shifts of staff that we're trying to catch and train, and it's just a little bit more efficient. So that's one day that I was hoping to do. And then the normal in-service day where we talk about policies, we talk about other technology trainings, we talk about emergency plan response, all that kind of stuff I'd still like to do in October. And I possibly want to make that a 2-day closure, so like a Thursday, Friday. My purpose for that is, and this is a bit of a ways off, but if we end up doing a complete rehaul of the mission statement, what the consultant recommended was a half-day training, and that would actually involve board members who would be available at minimum strategic planning, and the staff. They'd want all the staff there to sort of go over that too. And so that would require possibly having, obviously it's easier to have the library closed so that all the staff can be there to do that process. And then I could use the remaining half day to do just another RFID push. Mm-hmm. And if I'm really lucky, and I already feel like I'm going to set myself up for failure on this, the circulation desk, I'm planning on having it installed at that time. And so if staff during those 2 days, that Thursday, Friday, are doing the mission statement redesign and RFID tagging the one day, and the next day their formal in-service training with all their other stuff, and on the same 2 days, that's when the new desk is being installed, all the hammering and the demoing of the old desk. Because I think that desk is possibly going to take longer than a day. It's a little bit more complicated than the reference desk. Then if I can get all of those stars to align, that might be tricky. I might be out of luck, and then maybe I only do 1 day in October. But I just wanted to float that idea past you all. Again, normally we close for 1 day a year for in-service, and what I'm suggesting is 1.5 RFID training days, a half-day mission statement, and then a full in-service. So,
And if I may, Brittany, just for clarification, because
Yeah.
I think I missed something. April to May, one day
just 1 day.
RFID training, but I put 3 bullet points here. I thought you had 3 different times you wanted to do something. You said in the beginning. Or am I misunderstanding? The other one would be the traditional October one.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
So one day in April or May. I just have to figure out when the software and the hardware gets delivered. And then 2 days, a Thursday, Friday in October.
2 days. That's where your 3 days comes in then. I thought it was 3 different ones.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And of that 2 days, the first day would be split in half?
Yeah, so if we don't end up doing the mission statement redesign, or if we just do it less formally than what the consultant had envisioned, and again, we can talk more about that process to decide if it's the way we want to go. They envisioned a half day working with staff and selected board members on, what does the library do? What is the, like going through that whole, it's like a mini strategic planning process, basically. So they said that would take about a half day. And
who's they?
The Wills consultants.
Okay.
So, and I can at the next meeting, I can show you the proposal that they wrote out, like what that would entail, and that might help, help make it easier to sort of understand whether it's something we want to go
And then the
into.
second day would be
The typical in-service day. That's when we're like training on the new scanning software that we have for the digital stuff, fire response, CPR training, de-escalation tactics, things like that.
So now that I am president, am I supposed to be less of an activist on my questions, or what does everybody prefer?
Prefer you go over with a fine tooth comb.
Just ask.
I would say, I don't know about anybody else.
Because, Aaron was, he stayed somewhat, in the background and didn't ask as many questions and that, and I'm prepared to, I don't say play that role, I don't mean it that way. But if that's what the purpose of the presidency is to not.
I think the purpose of the presidency is to manage the meeting, and certainly to ask questions, but also make sure that other people are also have the opportunity. So.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. So now I think we get a pretty good idea here of how all of this works together. I guess the only question that I would have is what you think the reaction of the patrons would be. I mean, based on when you're closed for in-service in October, do you get any pushback on that? And I'm just curious.
I would say nothing.
With previous notice, I can't see.
Yeah, notice is definitely key, marketing it so people aren't, there's always a couple people that are surprised, I would say. So like when we did our in-service last October, I would say there were maybe 6 or 7 people that tried to open the doors, then looked at the sign and then walked away. We didn't get any comments on social media, maybe 1 or 2 comments the next day like, oh, you were closed, why were you closed? I wouldn't say there was anything so overwhelming about it, and
Well, schools close for in-service.
Sure.
And people, so people understand it.
Did you put that on the
I'm
floor?
just-
Yeah.
For in-service.
I'm just curious as far as the other, just for curiosity's sake, the other libraries in the Bridges library system, are they normally on a normal yearly basis only closed for one in-service day, or are there more days that you know of?
I know that for sure most libraries do at least one. Some libraries will do 2.
Okay.
And so far, I'll admit, and this may come as a shock to you, that I try to pack sometimes too much into an in-service. And so, like, forget RFID for a second. I always wish that I had, like, maybe another half day. I'm always feeling like, to get everyone, all the part-time staff, all the full-time staff in the room at once to have some of these conversations so everyone's hearing the same thing, and also just taking a minute to really say, like, this is what's working and what isn't. We do staff meetings every week, but only, I would say, you're getting maybe a third of the staff, because the rest of them are at the service desks, or the rest of them are coming in for the evening shift or left for the morning shift. And so we take meeting minutes and we push those out into the emails so that people, are as included as possible. But it's nothing like having everyone around the table to have those conversations and to hear what other people are saying. So I always wish that I kind of had another half day, but obviously I'm really trying to stay open every day that I possibly can. So a day has been working okay, but I would love to see what I could do with a day and a half.
And that kind of begs the question, I never even thought about it before. Might somebody who works at the library not even meet somebody else who works at the library for a very long time because of schedule issues, or in general, does everybody kind of interact with everyone within a certain time frame?
Yeah, the part-time staff, if you work the morning shift or if you work the afternoon shift, you will see each other at passing. So you probably get like five or so minutes. And then you always have a morning staff member paired up with an afternoon staff member when they have their once a week evening that they worked. So they get to know each other very well, but not. And then of course there's substitutions.
Yes.
So I would say that most people know each other pretty well. The shelvers have a more flexible schedule, so they're more. We call them library ninjas. They're more likely to sort of slide in and out, and maybe other staff don't see them quite as much.
Okay, so the agenda says discussion/action. What kind of action would you need from us?
Well, I certainly wanted to mention the fact that I was thinking of or hoping to close for 3 days instead of 1, just because, that's a bit more roguish than usual. And I don't have the dates, unfortunately. Obviously, I work very carefully because I don't want to do it when it's close to another holiday closure. Like if we were just closed for, Good Friday, I don't want to pick that week. I don't want to pick maybe the week next to it if I can help it. So I work very carefully to try to lessen the impact. I'm not going to do it in the middle of the summer. That's our really busy time. So I try to pick,
Exam time.
I want to avoid exam time. So I try to pick lower traffic times. I don't have the dates yet because I just don't know when the hardware is coming. And I don't know whether we're going to do the mission statement revision with the consultant, which would maybe dictate when we do it based on their availability. So
you're just informing us. You're not looking for us to take a vote of any kind or take any other action, or what?
I'm looking for you to vote to approve me closing the library for 3 days.
For a vote. Okay.
I don't have the dates, and I can certainly update you with those dates later. It's more just a quantity thing, right? I didn't want to just close the library for 3 days when I normally close it for 1 without explaining why. And I'm happy to, if you prefer to table it for now until I can get more information, I can. The one thing I will say is that depending upon what I hear in the next couple of days from the RFID folks, if I want to close the library in April, if I'm going to get the hardware in April, I kind of wanted to talk to you all now before, so I can get it on the calendar. So, if you wanted to talk more about the October dates a little bit later, I can certainly bring that up again. But at minimum, I'm looking to see if I can get approval for that RFID training.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should vote on it, and
Let's just vote on it then.
you can just update everybody with the dates.
Mm-hmm. So, would you all like to do a more generic motion? Like I can look for approval on 3 in-service days, or should we be more specific, 1 in April and 2 days in October? What is your preference, Brittany?
I think you can just do it generally because
Generic.
what if it ends up being May because the shipment of the pads closed?
That's why I'm asking. So, okay, looking for a motion to approve library closure for 3 days for in-service and training.
Motion. I'll second.
I'm sorry, Michelle was okay with that,
Okay.
and Barb is the second. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Well, I'm not supposed to
Aye.
vote. Not supposed to vote. Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, the motion passes unanimously, and I take back my vote. Okay, the next agenda item is communications and miscellaneous business as authorized by law. Do we have anything?
Just something exciting. It's National Library Week, April 4th through 8th, and we are going to be celebrating our belated birthday that week. So the building turns 22 and 22. And so we're going to be having birthday activities each day balloons one day, cake one day, opening a present, a birthday party game. So it's all birthday themed.
How cute.
So it's going to be fun. And
And I'm sorry, what week is that?
That's
April 4th through
that's
the
a
8th.
golden birthday, right?
I don't know.
Yes, it's a
Is it?
golden. Yes.
Oh, well.
You have to say it's our golden.
But wouldn't every birthday be a golden
No,
birthday?
if it's the if
No.
it's the year of the birthday, the same like 22.
Yeah, but we're going to be 23 in 2023.
No, it's only that 1 year in your whole life that you have a golden birthday.
It's on the date.
The date.
Oh, on the
It's
date.
not the
Okay.
year, it's
Oh,
on the
it's on
date.
the
I get
date.
it. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
April
so
4th.
like, mine's on the April 9th, so when I turned 9 on April 9th, that was my golden birthday.
So that's not a golden birthday.
I guess.
So it's not, yeah.
Bummer.
But it
Because-
still sounds cool.
It's still cute.
Thanks.
And thanks for thinking of it.
It's good marketing. And the friends, I've spoken with them. We're going to be handing out these magnets that have our branding on it and contact info and with measuring. Did I show these to you guys already?
I haven't seen one.
It has measuring. So I've been wanting to put something on people's refrigerators that they won't throw away. And I use this conversion all the time. It's, cake, birthday cake, so it's baking.
Mhm.
And then, because again, I'm continuing to try to think of ways to drive and work with the friends to drive membership and fundraising, we have our Amazon Smile option at the bottom. So instead of us handing out a piece of paper that people inevitably recycle, now we're stuck on the refrigerator. And just because I think this is so cute and I have to share it, we'll be including a save the date for the garden walk in there. So this gets
Nice.
handed out all week. And then I asked one of the friends of the library to submit a birthday cake recipe just to make it a little bit more personal. So that's going to be in here too. So it's just going to be a fun week. So stop by April 4th through the 8th. Any day is going to be a fun day to help celebrate the library. So.
And you're going to do these things all day in the library? I mean, how are you able to do cake all day?
Well, it's while supplies last.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah, okay.
and it'll just be at the service desks and people will walk up and they'll pick, it's either a cupcake or a cookie. I have to figure out what's more accessible.
Okay.
But, so it's just while the balloons last, while the, all that. But it's going to be fun. So, we're excited.
Outstanding.
And that's it. That's all I have.
Great idea. Who comes up with this great idea stuff? Okay. The last item on the agenda is adjournment. We're pretty good. We're only 5 after 6 tonight. So looking for a motion to adjourn. Oh, before I do that, is there something you wanted to say?
Nope. It's all the numbers you've seen before on that annual report. I handed out the pretty annual report, but it's all the numbers you've seen.
Yeah,
So.
what we're talking about for the folks at home, I don't know if you can hold it up or whatever, so.
We do this every year. It's just pretty, but it has the same numbers that were in the state annual report. So.
So, because I don't know, I would assume they can pick up their copy if they pop
Yep.
in one of these days. Okay, all right. Now, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We have Camille as the motioner. Looking for a second.
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. We're adjourned at, I have 6:06.